Hello fellow games collectors. I say that because today we're going back to basics. As I said in the last video, this channel started off as a gaming channel, and we seem to have done everything but gaming for the last couple of years. So today I'm going to do you a series of racing game, PlayStation racing games and Xbox. Now, I'll start off with an apology here because trouble having so much stuff is sometimes you lose bits and pieces. Such is the case today with my few Xbox racing games, original Xbox. I just can't find them now. As far as I remember, I think the only racing games I've got on the original Xbox was the PGR series, Project Gotham, because as I remember, most of the other games came out on PS2, and if I had them on PS2, then I didn't need them on Xbox. But yeah, so unfortunately I can't show you the Project Gotham racing games, but I do have plenty of other stuff to show you. Excuse me. Now, first of all, just a little aside before we start. As far as today, I'm going to show you PlayStation 1 and 2. It would have been stroke Xbox, but as I've just explained, that's off the table. Now, as far as the PlayStation 1 games are concerned, anybody who's a collector will understand what I'm going to tell them now. Sometimes you go through these awful phases where you need money for real life. That's the best way I can put it. And such was the case when I'd collected a lot of PS1 stuff. I needed money for something else, and the PS1 stuff was the stuff that had to go. So what I'm going to show you today is just stuff that I've managed to reacquire. Now when I say reacquire, I've reacquired most of these racing games around about the £1, £2, £3, £4 mark. I've got a few £1 ones from charity shops. So I'm afraid the PS1 collection isn't as good as it should be, but the PS2 collection's shaping up. So I'll begin. Now, I suppose it's not really true to say that Ridge Racer kicked off the 3D racing scene on PS1. It did on PS1, but there were, prior to that, there were PC racing games that could, well be described as proper 3D racing games. I must admit I wasn't into PC at the time, so I'm not totally familiar with them, but I know there were some in existence. But although Ridge Racer was the first one that I saw that looked and felt like a proper 3D racer, what a lot of people don't know is that the Need for Speed franchise started on a very little known console called the 3DO. I mean, some of you might have heard of it, but I'm guessing not many of you have played on it. The reason for that, it was a ghastly price when it came out. 600 quid, 550, 600 quid. And then, I mean, it was that kind of put the dampeners on its launch. And then when the PS1 came along shortly after it was released, it was stillborn, it just didn't take off at all. But one claim for fame it does have is the very first Need for Speed game. As I say, not a lot of people realise that Need for Speed started on a little known machine, and you know, it's a game I like. I played it a bit, and yeah, I mean, it's not your archetypical Need for Speed game, but nevertheless, it's quite playable. So anyway, PS1. I'm going to show you these. I've tried to arrange these in alphabetical order, just for, you know, I didn't know how to really show them. So alphabetical is as good as any. So as I say, this collection's not anything great, but we'll have a whiz through it. Just right, Colin McRae Rally. I'm not a big fan of rallying games, but I suppose that was one of the most famous back in the day. You can see I paid a grand total of £1 for that. Yeah, I mean, it was quite playable at the time, but it's been well superseded now, and I don't care for rally games anyway, to be quite frank with you. Then Explosive Racing, that was an arcade type racer, which I must admit I prefer the arcade races to Sims or anything that's vaguely sort of rally-ish or simish. Yeah, that was just, you know, the bog standard arcade type of game, nothing spectacular. You can see a few screenshots maybe on the back there. But yeah, I mean, it was nothing special, to be honest. This was, however, Gran Turismo that kicked off the franchise. I mean, it wowed everybody back in the day. Middle 1990s, late 1990s. I get mixed up with dates these days. But yeah, I mean, it was a real popular racing game, and probably one of the first that sold in great numbers, apart from Ridge Racer, which superseded it. A few screenshots from it there. Getting a bit of reflection there, so it's not ideal. So that was Gran Turismo, and then we had the sequel, of course. You know, it was still quite popular. Didn't do as well as the first game, naturally, but still quite popular. And then, yeah, Le Mans. There was an arcade game. This is not it. I think Sega did an arcade game with the same title, but this was I don't know, it was sort of like a cross between arcade and I think it was more on the arcade side, but yeah, I didn't think much of it, but it seemed to do okay. And then this is the famous Italian road race Miglia. You know, although there was a big ocean swell towards racing games when the PS1 came out, I don't think this was by any means one of the most popular. But nevertheless, it's one you don't see around too often. Even less for this one. Newman Haas. That's IndyCar. Excuse me, I've got a dry throat here. IndyCar is, I've always found it boring, quite frankly. I know the Americans love it, but no, I couldn't get away with IndyCar, and I don't think that's sold in any great numbers. And we had Porsche Challenge. Need for Speed did a Porsche game later on, but yeah, so it was just a bog standard racing game, that one, and then I'll leave that one to the last, although it comes next alphabetically, because it's the last in the series. Right, anybody who saw my one of my recent videos knows of my love for this game. This is This is the Japanese version that I bought when I bought the Japanese PS1 back in the day, and it's still my favourite racing game. I know it looks dated now, but I loved it then. I love it now, and it's one game that I would never get rid of. It just has so much nostalgic value for me. That, as I say, that's the Japanese edition, but that was a real revelation when I saw that running, and I just had to have a PS1 as I've mentioned before. That was the sequel, Revolution. Again, that's the Japanese version. I've tried to get all the Japanese versions of these, and I'm just working on it at the minute, but I got that for a couple of quid, as you can see the sticker there. More of the same really, but I'm afraid the screenshots are rather miniature. And then there was, I'm trying to get the Japanese version of this, Ridge Racer Type 4. I think there is one in between, isn't there? Between Revolution and Type 4, I think. My memory's going now, so don't believe anything I tell you. But yeah, you can get a nice set actually with this in a box with some other gear. I don't know if this one had. Oh, it does, yeah. This one has the box is knackered. That's why it fell out. This one has the Ridge Racer high spec demo. It shows you how Ridge Racer could have looked, but that's just a demonstration one. It doesn't have the whole game, unfortunately. But not one of my favourite Ridge Racer games, that. But nevertheless, there it is. And then this was a game I really liked. I almost finished this, Ridge Racer. There was an arcade game came out. I don't know if it was called Rage Racer, but it was very similar anyway. I can't remember what it was called in the arcades, but it was similar to this. And yeah, I played it right to the last race, last level, and it was so hard. You had to go around this circular track without hitting anything at about 900 miles an hour, and I never made it. Once you hit the sides, that was it. Your race was finished. Yeah, this is one of the famous Midway arcade games. It's a conversion of San Francisco Rush. Not a bad conversion, but as I say, a little bit dated now. But even in the arcade, you can see some screenshots there vaguely. Even in the arcade, it wasn't the best looking racer in the world, so that wasn't a bad one to play. And then this was Codemasters Tucker World Touring. It was okay. I mean, it was more sim based than arcade, but yeah, I mean, it was very popular at the time. Toka, however you want to pronounce it. And then that was Toka World Touring Cars. That was the Touring Car Championship. Very similar, just more of the same, really. And we had Total Driving. This is another arcade racer. I seem to remember enjoying it back in the day, but I did most of the arcade type races, Total Driving, and then last but not least, not one of my favourites again, V-Rally. So a few of these I picked up in charity shops. I mean, you can see that's from a charity shop, just £1. And you know, as far as I remember, the discs were in canny condition. That's the only trouble with buying second-hand PlayStation 1 and 2 games these days. The discs didn't really last very well. Scratches galore, but as long as they're playable, I don't mind. I mean, I'm not a Nazi about the state of the discs. Yeah, so I'm afraid that's my miserable PS1 racing collection, but as I say, I'm working on it. So yeah, PS2. Yeah, that was the start of something, wasn't it? Burnout, the very first. Not, I know, sacrilege. Not a big fan of the first one. I don't know why. There was just something about it that didn't appeal to me. Sold in droves. Like, it was very popular. But no, I wasn't totally enamoured with Burnout. But this one, different kettle of fish. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that one. It's a case for me of a sequel being better than the original. I mean, a lot of people would disagree, but yeah, enjoyed that one. I mean, I presume most racing fans will know Burnout from the more recent iterations of it, particularly PS3. Right, and then we had a bit later on down the line, Burnout Revenge with Netplay. Just more of the same. There's more accent on crashes and stuff, you know. I prefer the straightforward racing, quite honestly, but that's just me. Right, that was just a little one of these little cartoony Mario Kart knockoffs, you know. But it qualifies as a racing game. Cartoon Network. You'll notice that the title of this is Car Racing Games. I've never been able to control bikes, so I don't play them and I don't collect them. In case you're wondering where all the bike games are, but like I say, this is just car racing. Bing, 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 bong, bong, bing, bing, bong. There we go. Some weird song, Crazy Frog, but yeah, it's another charity jobby quid. Crazy Frog Racing. I didn't think it was that bad actually, but it got well slated by the critics. What do they know? Dirt Track Devils. Yeah, that's what it says really. Not cars as such, but ATVs. Yeah, I always forget the name of those. It's, yeah, I think that was one of the budget titles that Midas did. And then, oh yeah, this was a nifty little series, Ford Racing. Say more arcadey. Ford Racing 2. And we have number 3. More of the same. And now we come on to the futuristic races, G-Surfers. You know, some of these games are okay. I mean, Wipeout was pretty good, and obviously F-Zero on other machines. But yeah, this was just a bog standard Wipeout knockoff. I don't remember much about it. So it looks like Wipeout. If you can see that, but yeah, it was nothing. It was nothing special, to be honest. And then GT races. This was just another one of those budget street races. I don't think many of these PS2 games are particularly scarce now. You know, I see them around all the time in CACs. It's not the scarceness of them that I love. It's just I like racing. It's another budget by Midas there. GTR 400. Not much to say about it really. This is one of those touring games in Africa. Where you can see GTC Africa. There's some street racing in there, but a lot of it's bombing across deserts and not really my cup of tea, to be honest. But There you go. Yeah, right. Oh, this was this was a Japanese version I picked up in London many moons ago. I don't know what it is, to be honest. I mean, I don't read Japanese, and I've never looked it up, but I think it came out before number 3, Gran Turismo 3 in Japan. I think it's just like one of those games that bridged, the old PS1 game and Gran Turismo 3. There it is. Spec. Probably the most common racing game I see on my travels. And then, of course, that was quite nice. I liked Gran Turismo 4. It was really polished. Nice white cover as well. It was fun to play. Oh, and then, I've included this one because it's so weird. It's not car racing. It's cars, so it qualifies. It wasn't very playable as I remember, but there you go, it is a car racer. And then the famous Gumball Rally, Gumball 3000. Not the greatest game I've ever played, but there again, as I say, it's cars, so it qualifies. Right, what do we have next? The old Hot Wheels. These have never been really popular. They've never had any great critical acclaim, but some of them have been okay, but they're a bit samey, the Hot Wheels games to me. There's another one of these Wipeout clones, Jedi and GP. Not much to say about it. Juiced, that was still got a sticker on it. Excuse me. Juiced, just an arcade street racer basically. Nothing spectacular. Rush, that's another one of the Midway. I don't know if there was a arcade game. I think there was, but I don't think this is a straight conversion of it. I think it's more made for console, street racing. And then, there's these horrible budget things that Davilex did, London Racer. There was a few of them. I think that's the only one I've got. You can pick them up for a couple of quid each. They're pretty awful, to be honest. And then Lotus Challenge, if you like Lotus. Back in the days when Virgin made games, just bog standard racer, really, nothing to write home about. And that's another one of Midas's, is Chibi's budget racer. More street racing, pretty awful, to be honest. And then we come to the Need for Speed, right? That's out of order, that one. Oops, chuck them about. I think they came in that order, although I can't remember, to be honest. But, I think that was the earliest one. Underground. Oh, sorry, that's Underground 2. Get right in a minute. Underground. They did an arcade conversion of this. This wasn't it, but it was very similar. They had one in my local cinema up to about 6 months ago, actually. One of these things where you could save your games and put cards in and what have you. And then it was sequelised, as EA want to do. And then we had, I think that one came next, Most Wanted, or maybe Pro Street did, doesn't matter. I mean, you'll know. This was when Need for Speed games were vaguely decent. That wasn't great, but it was okay-ish. Right, this is Noble Racing. This is just another Midas budget game. Just like the Lotus, based on the Noble cars, basically. just street racing, bog standard, just cashing in on people's love for racing games. People like me, mugs like me, who buy them all. That's a great game. Outrun Coast to Coast. They had in my local. We've got an arcade near the cinema that I go to for IMAX. Namco have got an arcade, and misery of miseries, it's just vanished from there. But for many years they had a big 60-inch screen of the Coast to Coast arcade game, very similar to this, but on a massive screen. It was beautiful. I just used to watch people play for hours. just great fun. But yeah, that's a really good game. A lot of content. Couldn't get the sticker off, that's why it's on. Racing Simulator 3. Not my cup of tea, I'm not into. That's a pure simulator, that one. And then, so this is Rally Fusion. It's a kind of a fusion between arcade and rally sim. Not a game that I particularly enjoyed, but there it is. And my favourite racing series, Ridge Racer. That was the first one was the one and only on the PlayStation 2. I don't know what happened there. Although this did kind of have a connection to R Racing. It was by Namco, and everybody took the R Racing to be Ridge Racing or whatever. But it's more of a, from the it says from the creators of Ridge Racer. But yeah, it wasn't one that I particularly enjoyed. But there you go, you can't win them all, can you? RPM tuning, that's based on the Japanese street racing. Didn't think much of it, to be honest. Shocks, don't tell you no to that price. I didn't pay that for it. Yeah, it was an interesting game, Shocks. It was like you had to beat a timer. Although it says Rally Reinvented, it was more of an arcade experience. I quite enjoyed it, as I remember. Shocks there. It's another one of those cartoony ones. Star Wars Super Bombad Racing. You don't see it in the wild too often these days, so I'm glad I picked it up. Just a sort of Mario Kart type of game, and then soccer continued on the PS2 from PS1. Much more of the same. And Tokyo Extreme, that's more racing around Japanese circuits at night. If you can see where you're going, it's okay, and then Top Gear, is it TG Daredevil? I don't know what it stands for. Top Gear Daredevil, I think it does. Yeah, I can't remember much about that. Just a bog standard racing game as I remember. And then King of Kings, Wipeout. I haven't actually picked up Wipeout for the PS1 yet, but I dare say there's quite a few out there quite cheap if I dare go on eBay. But Fusion, yeah, I mean that was quite decent. Everybody knows Wipeout, presumably. Yeah, now I wouldn't call, as I say, I wouldn't call many PS2 games scarce, but you don't see this around very often. World of Outlaws, it's another one of those with the ATVs, RTVs, is it? ATVs, I don't know, I've forgotten. But yeah, it's sprint cars. It's those things with the wings on them that you adjust. Really weird game, and I didn't like it, but there you go. As I say, it's one of the scarcer ones. And we finished with a couple of Wipeout clones. XG3 Stream G Racing. That was actually more motorbikes, as you can see, but not motorbikes as we know them. And then XGRA Extreme Racing. That was was more Wipeout, or very similar anyway. So there you have it. That's my little gathering of PS1 and 2 games. I've had to split these videos because I do have a lot of PS3 racing games. So I don't know yet. I might lump them in with the PS4 because I don't want the video to go on too long. I'll probably be falling asleep. So I might lump them in, or I might do just a PS3 and then do the PS4 with maybe some PC, because I don't do a lot of PC stuff. Although I do have a PC vid lined up. Unusual for me to have this roadmap of stuff that's coming. But I'm going to do as I mentioned before, in the last video, I'm going to do a first-person shooter video of PC fantasy games like Doom and stuff like that, you know, Quake and all that gear. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for today. Once again, if I haven't replied to any of you, I'm trying to get around to it. It's a bit of a hard slog going through videos and having to pick out comments I haven't replied to, but I'm keeping up to date on the recent videos. It's just a question of whether anybody's replied to an older one, because people are still watching them, for which I thank you. And anyway, I'll leave you in peace now, and I'll see you in a few days' time, hopefully. Bye-bye for now.